Hello and welcome again for another podcast for the Mindfulness and Positivity group. This one makes me go like this. I don't know him yet, but I can already tell I'm going to like him. We've got Stephen Potter, who I'm going to bring in. He was chosen by Katie this week for his awesomeness. Let's bring him in right now. Hey, Stephen.
Hey, good morning. It's an honor to be here. I'm very
How are you
excited.
doing?
I'm doing well. I'm very
Always a,
excited. Mhm.
always a problem just before you're about to come on with the camera or something, isn't there?
Yes, sir. I was worried about the audio, but somehow we figured it out, and I'm here.
So I'm just going to read this to you.
Mhm.
So this is Stephen Potter. Just wanted to let you know your decision to work with the Mindful Wizard is amazing. It's not the knowledge that he harbors that's so helpful. It's the willingness to continue to gain knowledge that makes him unique. He's helped me transition from being a man with no meditation, mindfulness practices to someone who feels confident teaching his practices to my students at the high school level. His consistency and dedication is a testament to his craft, and I look forward to hearing both your perspectives. This was from Samir. I love him. He's good with words.
Amen. Yes, one of my teachers, one of my teachers
One
I
of your
work with
teachers.
is yes, sir. So besides what I do on social media, I also see clients, and he's one of the clients that I started with early, and then he's evolved through the program, and now he's sharing the wisdom with his students in the high school level.
Right.
It's
Go on.
amazing.
What's it? Mindful Wizard. I liked
Yes,
it.
sir.
Drew me to you
Mhm.
that word. When I read that this morning, I got quite excited about getting you on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a moniker I wear with love, the Mindful Wizard.
Oh, you've got it on your bloody top. I've only just noticed. I never looked at your top. It's written right across it on the front there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's my my business logo. It's how I teach
Okay.
mindfulness. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So where can we find that at? Where can people find that?
So I'm on Instagram at Mindful Wizard. Got a couple of thousand followers there, so we're doing pretty good. And then we're on Twitter and we're on TikTok as Mindful
Right.
Wizard.
Awesome. I like the name Mindful Wizard. Like it because when you're coming up with a name, such a because every name's a lot of names are gone, aren't they? So when you're coming up with a business name or whatever name, loads of them are gone. You have 50 million ideas and gone, gone, gone. Was
Yes,
Mindful
sir.
Wizard there early? Was it an early one just there?
Honestly, it was like meant to be. And I really mean that. Like you know me as Stephen Potter because I'm obsessed with the wizarding world, but when I wanted to evolve into a brand, I needed to pick something that represented both who I am and something that was mindful. And it just worked out because I've been obsessed with Harry Potter. It's funny that you asked that.
Ah,
It's funny that you asked that question too, because when I was looking for the name, I said if I make the email and the Instagram is available, then it's meant to be. And no
yeah.
one had Mindful Wizard. So it worked out.
Absolute quality. So tell us tell us a little bit about yourself, Stephen. Where you at? What's your what's your world? What's life? Tell us some stuff about you. I have no idea where you even live.
Sounds good. So this is the first time we'll get to meet in the virtual world, and it's an honor. So I am living in Brooklyn, New York,
Cool.
and New York City.
New York.
I'm,
We were just talking about it last night. We're going to take the kids to New York at some point. That's like a dream trip we're going to take.
it's so amazing, and I also want to visit the UK, so it'll be a lot of fun. We'll do a role reversal.
Yeah, well, I live in one of the best, nicest parts. I live in the Lake District of the UK, so it's beautiful. I'm blessed where I live. I live in the most amazing part.
God bless you, brother. Yeah, I definitely got to check it out. But simply about me, I'm a teacher from New York City. I am 31 years old. I'm also a dean of students. I have two masters. I have one in kinesiology, which is like movement science, and then the
Right.
other, the fun stuff. And then the other one is a more serious degree, and it makes me eligible for principal or school leadership. So that's what I'm working on at the career level, and then at the spiritual level, I'm a meditation teacher. I teach Tai Chi, and I just try to help people unlock the power of their own minds. Simply, it's what I do.
Awesome. I used to be a teacher myself. I did 10 years of being a teacher in my 20s. Stopped about 6 or 7 years ago. So it's an awesome opportunity because, do you know what? I think about this all the time because we look at school and like schools are great, education's great, but there's so many things we don't teach that are paramountly important. One of them's just general finances and how to sort, you teach maths, English and stuff. But what about just getting on a bus and just really how to book a cake with ratio, obvious stuff that you can use in modern day life. The other thing is not religion, but spirituality.
Yes, sir. I agree.
How do you find that? How do you find the line of being wished? Because when I was I became more spiritual as I left teaching. So I always looked at, it's like I'm not a religious person, I'm a spiritual person. And I think the Bible and all religious things are great because they're things to live towards. So I'd always try and teach to live towards. But since I found spirituality, I feel I could have given the kids a lot more. How do you do that?
It's an excellent question. I appreciate you asking it. So that's one of the things that I think I'm skillful at doing is kind of giving people an entry point at different levels. So I can kind of assess where they're at spiritually and what I think they need. But the majority of my students, it always starts with emotional support, right? I always kind of hook them in using the whole awareness, and I'm also a dean, so my school at times gets a
We
little.
don't know. We're British. What's a dean?
Oh, great! I'm perfect. So no, hey, listen, I'm glad for the confusion because that lets me add a little bit more light in what I do.
Good.
So let me just add this because this is also, I think, important to the Mindful Wizard story. I worked in a jail for 3 years before I became a teacher in the public system. So like a
Which
residential.
jail? Which jail and what was it? Was it what do you call it when it's got the badder ones in? Because I watch a lot
I
of
know.
jail programs and what's
So
it called?
you would love it. You would love it. So there's like minimum secure, and then there's like
Yeah.
maximum.
Yeah.
So I got lucky to work in a facility which saw every individual coming from minor crimes to, double murders with 3 gun charges. So I was lucky, if you want to look at it that way, to work with people at all levels.
Yeah.
But it was teenagers. So I learned a lot of skills in regulation of emotion as I worked in those jails because I'm not a pretty big guy, so I needed other skills. So
Yeah. Stronger
those
skills.
skills, yes, sir. So those skills I used in a public educational setting, and that's how I learned to use meditation, the softer skills. So to answer your question about what do I do to include mindfulness and spirituality in what I do, I give little bites. So I'll start with, for example, the 4 agreements, which I don't know if you've heard of. Have you heard of
No,
them?
but I want to.
Oh my, they the best of
I
the
need to write
best.
down. Do I need to write this down as something to look at afterwards?
I definitely would reflect on these agreements heavily.
Cool.
They're
I will.
something that have really transcended the way I see the world, but I'll share them simply. They come from Don Miguel Ruiz. He's a spiritual writer. His family originated in Mexico. They're medicine men and women, and they just write very beautiful things. But these 4 have resonated with me deeply, and it would be an honor to share them with you now and your platform, sir. So, number 1, in no particular order, is be impeccable with your word.
With your
Number
word?
t- yes, sir, with your word. Be impeccable with your word. Number 2 is don't take anything personal. Harder to do than to
No,
say, but
I've learned. I've been learning that one for a long time.
yes, sir.
I think
They're
it's mega
beautiful.
important. I did that because I think it's just so important to take that one on board.
100%. I agree wholeheartedly. Like I try to live them in everything I do. Number 3 is always do your best. And then the hardest one I like to add last is don't make any assumptions.
Ah,
And if you can live with those 4, exactly. If you can live with those.
all the rest of the 3, I'm getting somewhere on though. But yeah, the
But
assumptions, the killer of all stories, the killer of all journeys, the killer of either way, the assumptions. Yeah.
Exactly. So you combine that with an element of awareness, and you're pretty much unstoppable. So I share that, and a lot of students ask me, how do I remain calm? So a dean is the middle person between the teachers and administration, the principals or
Ah,
the
okay.
assistants. So if there's a fight, if there's a anything that will disrupt the normal school day, I step in to de-escalate the situation.
Awesome. Okay.
That's
And I can see that, like working in the prisons. I've got a thing of working with a lot of people who've been in prisons, from violent offenders to minor offenders. And what it's interesting because when I've seen this. Everyone's got a story that brought them there. If you look at the charge sheet, it might not reflect the story that got them there. Or you look at the charge sheet and it actually hides the story. So everyone's got a different story and unique. And you know what? And I've got this thing like, I watched this thing about 2016. I did 100 random acts of kindness in the year, which was really hard coming up with it without looking weird when you're doing things for people. And one of them was, I was watching this, like, I love watching American crime stuff. And I'm watching this one. It's about a travesty of a judgment. A lad was 15, a young black American was 15. They did an armed robbery. He was there. He never had a gun. He never did anything. The witnesses said that he actually didn't want to create any violence. He got a life sentence, this kid. He didn't do out. So I wrote him this. I sent money in and wrote him. One of my good deeds was to write this guy a letter just to say, like, when you're a kid, you make a mistake. That when we're kids, like you see kids making mistakes every day, aren't you? But the part of development tools that make us grow. How do we grow and get better unless we work from the mistakes we've made? And that was a good example of it. This kid was on a life sentence for being somewhere, and I felt this. You must have seen a lot of that.
Oh, 100%. So working in the jails was actually the catalyst for becoming a wizard. I look
Nice.
back at a lot of the young men and women that I was surrounded by, like you said, were exposed to situations that they couldn't avoid,
Yeah.
or wrong place, wrong time, or just no guidance. I
Yeah.
had a
No
kid that
guidance. Mm.
yes, sir. It's huge. I had a kid that was 7 years old. Like, what are you doing in jail at 7 years old? Why did you have access to a gun? And I don't blame the environment, right? Because it's difficult. It really is. And especially when kids gravitate to what they think is cool, and we have a
Yeah.
bigger problem.
Mm.
So so I try to use mindfulness to save people from that. It's interesting that you mentioned the sheets, the crimes that they do. I never read them. I never read them.
Ah.
I didn't care, right? Because I was practicing the don't
Mm.
make assumptions without even
Like
knowing
it.
that I was.
Like it.
Yes, sir.
Why I said that is when I was a teacher, I was an EBD teacher, emotional behavioural difficulties. So we used to get these statement sheets of all kids because we were in referral units where it wasn't prison, but you got pulled out of mainstream school and you wasn't allowed to leave where you were. So some of the statements you'd look at this kid's behaviour and think, and if you judge the behaviour, made an assumption, go and look at his sheet and ask yourself why he's doing what he's doing there. And it used to be, we'd have to see the sheet to understand why they're acting like that, or she'd always judge the behaviour. And it's not always the behavior to be judged. Yeah, funny enough, I saw a guy. I went to shoot a video last week. Saw a guy, and he was like, he was. So we live in the north of England. He was on about a kid from London. He's got a 14-year-old young gang, like sort of a bit of gang mentality, and he tried to shank him. This is it's not a prison. He tried to, so he got a shank. I've never heard of him having shanks, but I tried to get him to see that. Imagine being part of that gang culture and that being normal. And then you trying to understand that normalness, and he's trying to understand your normalness of trying to teach him to be a decent individual. How the hell they clash? You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. It's actually a good question, and I learned that the hard way. One day, I was in the jails, and I was simply just staring out a window, and a young man came up to me and said, "Why the f are you staring at me?" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "You looked at me like you wanted to fight me." And I said, "No, young man, no, that's the last thing I want to do. If anything, I want to pray for you." So so when he said that, it really hurt me because a simple glare,
Yeah.
and I'm just, I'm observing the sunset. I'm whatever I'm doing, I'm thinking about, basketball. I'm not thinking about
Mm.
hurting you. But in his
Mm.
mind, right, the signals were kind of crossed, and he thought that that was a sign for violence. And it goes
Mm.
back to the environments where we grew up in. Like, I don't know if you can notice, but my eye is a little damaged, for lack
Oh
of a
yeah.
better word. Yes, sir. I've actually had
Oh,
8
I can see it now.
surgeries.
You've said it, but you wouldn't see it unless you'd notified it. Yeah, yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I've had 8 surgeries here because I lived a very similar life. So I wasn't too far removed from crime. And so I kind of picture myself as Buddha. You know how Buddha was trapped in the temple and then he went to explore? I was trapped in the negative and went to explore.
Same,
And-
same. I was. What you on about the stair? I grew up a fighter. Only as a kid, where I lived in a place called Manchester. You know Manchester because of Manchester United.
yes,
You
sir.
know, we were like that. Looking, the stair created the fight, and you'd find a fellow
Hmm.
fighter off the stair, and you catch a
Hmm.
stair, and when you got the stair back, you knew a fight was going to go. It's just
Yes,
silly. It's
sir.
pathetic. I almost feel embarrassed bringing it back up. But that's how it
Hmm.
works. That's you find a fight. How do you always get a fight? Because there's other people like me looking for one. And
So you're right. You're so right. It's the law of attraction and working in the negative.
oh, mate, the law of attraction is the most amazing thing. It has like we ain't got time to go into it now because I want to go into one of your posts. But you literally attract what you want in your life. I'm attracting through this group. Like I came in this morning. What do you call a bank? We call it a bank holiday where it's off. What's America's? In we have 8 bank holidays a year where it's a day off. Monday's off. What do you call them in America?
I think they're just called national holidays.
National. Well, we had a bank holiday, so it's been a long weekend for us. So we're coming back after work. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
I was excited, mate, to see you. I went
Yes,
into
sir.
one of your posts. I like this. I liked what you said in it because it made me think that I've read. I don't know you, but you were chosen by Katie for being awesome, mate.
Mhm.
How cool is that? Someone
It's
thought of you as being awesome to the
mhm.
point they wanted to bring you onto chapter. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's not only is it cool, it's humbling. I'm amazed. I'm excited. I don't know what I said that got me this opportunity, so I'm very grateful.
You said loads of things because so Katie spotted you, so I'll speak to Katie a bit. So I went onto one of your posts. You put, I love this. When you look for imperfections in me, you'll find them. When you don't want to hear truth, we look for a way to attack the messenger. I understand and I'm not offended. What I want you to start doing is digging deeper and start asking yourself, what triggers you when you hear those words? Love that. Quick story. I saw someone that I haven't seen in years. I listened to his story, the pros and the cons. When it was my turn to talk, I mentioned the brand on this page, which is awesome. You could only see that one thing, which I'm very happy about. He responded, yeah, but your hair is messed up. He said another word. I'm not too sure. Yeah, your hair is messed up. I was hurt for a second. Like, what the hell does my hair have to do with the good news I'm sharing? Then it hit me: competition. Most people are still in competition with themselves. So if they hear someone doing well, they want to bring you down. I'll tell you what, I'm not one of them, but I experience them
Yes, sir.
all the time. And like, do you know, like one of my things is I do these podcasts, but I started a YouTube channel. And do you know you're on about names? Yours is at Mindful Wizard. I picked the wrong name. I picked the situation I was in. So I started YouTubing in August. I had a massive crisis went on. One day I'll be doing a video. It's one of the biggest things that's happened in my life. I call myself the crisis coach. Tried to find the name. It was on there. The thing is, it's a derogatory, it's a negative sounding thing. So yeah, I was in a crisis and it helped me out of it. I've since changed that. But I find it amazing that someone see a video. Yeah, I've watched your videos. Yeah, they're not really for me. People like to do that. They don't like to say something good. They like to draw something out. I mean, I think
Hmm.
your hair's cool.
No, it happens. And when I sit there and I observe that in people, I think humbly their egos are
Mm,
bothered by something.
mm,
Because it was when he said it. It was in my happiest moments of, so the brand is doing well and people are, supporting the logo, and I've made people smile, and that's when,
mm.
yeah, but your hair looks crazy. So it's like a come back to earth. And I don't want to live in earth because earth has a lot of negative stuff going on. I want to live in a positive vibration. So when I shared that with him, I noticed that that was his way of bringing me down,
Yeah.
trying to lower my vibration. But thankfully, my ego, through the power of not making assumptions, slowed me down. And I'm gonna hit you with one more. I stayed impeccable with my word, and I didn't tell him what I felt he needed to hear at the time.
That's always the fight, isn't it? Like,
Yes, sir.
I'm used to it now. Like, I'm like you. I've got to the point where when someone says that to me, I don't think it's about me ever. So if they could say something really negative about me personally, but I don't think it's about me. I know it's about them. Whatever they said to me was something they're facing. How can I help them? Not maybe there and then, because I'm not. I think you are like you. It's that assumption and like staying true to yourself, and I am most of the time. But I've still got that old, that old fighter in me from years ago. And every so often he's popping up and he's wanting to go, what? Say what? Say what? I'll say something back. And I have to fight him. I fight him a lot. And I'll be honest, I do. But it's so interesting. It's so interesting.
Yes, sir. So if I may, for the listeners, I'll give you guys some quick suggestions because remember I told you I live in Brooklyn, so it's a rough neighborhood
Yeah.
sometimes, and especially on New York City trains where you have to, remain dominant and flexible. The biggest skill is staying loose. Like really, I know I joke often, but I'm very serious about relaxation techniques and a lot of shoulder work. So I use shoulder work. I unclench the jaw often, and I'm constantly doing deep breathing. Like even during this conversation, when when it's my turn to listen, I'm truly breathing because it helps me regulate and it helps me remain calm. So I use that often when people are disrespecting me. Another thing I've found that is very helpful during these times, besides physical movement, is feeling emotion. So, for example, I'm on the train, someone says something very disrespectful. Before I respond, I ask myself, what does this feel like in the body? And
Mm.
sometimes it's anxiety, sometimes it's anger, sometimes it's anxiety, anger, confusion. So I'm able to say, oh wow, you're angry. So then I go back, is this worth my anger? And then I go back, should I respond? So it's become a process that takes time. For my newbies, my beginners, I would just suggest doing nothing. Like I know that sounds simple or difficult depending on how you look at it, but if someone just says, "Hey Steve" or "Hey Wizard, you sound stupid," if I feel that pang of anger, I just reflect. And I'm like,
Mm.
why is that bothering me? What level are they affecting me to? And that level of reflection and introspection helps me remain present while all this is happening.
I can, you know what? I have not like when I was at primary school. I remember and I've seen it because I go back. I've got like you look at your old stuff from primary school. And one of them is it says Christian needs to think before he speaks. And it was written then, and it was written in all my secondary school and all. And that's one of my things that I've always had to work on. I've noticed throughout this that you are breathing in a certain way, and you're a very good listener.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So what I've learned to do, I got to give credit to my girlfriend. She's a licensed clinical social worker, and she has about 10 years experience working with people with disabilities or emotional regulation issues. Not to mention the jails.
Yeah.
And then you couple that with my current job, and all we do is study energy. That's literally all we do. I have to because if a fight is gonna break out, I have to be able to know that before the fight.
Yeah. But
If
you know that anyway. Once you've been if you like, there's certain things that are good at coming out of having it a bit rough because you know what's going on all the time. Like I don't know New York. I'll come New York and I'm thinking, right, I need to be aware of what's going on. What's the trains like? What is there a bit of a? You've mentioned the trains twice now in New York. I have watched a lot of. I absolutely love watching buskers, and there's been quite a few in New York. There's this one woman who performed in New York. She's just on the subway and she sings I can't, it's not just good. I can't believe people walk past her and don't say it's one of the best performances. If you ever want to see a good performance, go on YouTube and put busking. Because there's some buskers out there. They're not famous, but they're famous to me. And you're just like phenomenal. But What's going on the New York subway then? Because you mentioned it twice.
So the reason I talk about it so often is because I have like a love-hate relationship with the train, right? It gets me to where I need to be in the city. And it's actually my primary, this is funny to admit on a public platform, but it's my primary dojo. It's where I meditate. It's where I experience life. So sometimes I'm just sitting there observing chaotic tendencies. Other times I'm literally sitting there reading. Other times I'm sitting there without music and letting the background be my music.
Yeah, I love
So
that.
I'm kind of like, if I can say this, a monk in training, and the training is the train, because it's funny, but it's so true.
I know, I get it.
If you can remain calm on
Mm,
that station,
yeah,
you could remain calm anywhere. So I tell people that are new to New York, it's not that dangerous, but you also don't want to put yourself in positions that are not intelligent. So I would not be
yeah.
there at certain times at night.
What times are them?
Um, I'll go back to my Explorer days. 1 a.m. I wouldn't
No,
do 1 a.m.
nah.
to 4 a.m. is just basically asking to get robbed,
Yeah,
unless
it
you
is, isn't it?
know.
Yeah, yeah. I watched
Yeah.
this. I watched this. I wrote this. Sorry, I didn't watch this. I read a book called Tipping Point, and one of the things it said at Tipping Point epidemics, how they happen. It talked about the New York subway system. At one point, it was just covered in graffiti. Every train, there was crime rife all over it. And one guy decided if we clean the trains up, the crime will stop. And he ended up
Makes sense.
low. That this is in the 90s. The crime was, if it's bad now, what you're saying, oh my God, in the 90s, it was unbelievable. There was so many homicides, there was constant. And this one thing of clearing the train up, and it's the smash window theory. If you go somewhere and there's a window smash, people will smash more windows. You turn up somewhere else and things are clean and things are caring. That's a vibration that's passing on through. I found that amazing. But yeah, I want to go to the New York subway, but for the busking. I bet there's some good on the positive. I bet there's some good buskers on there.
Yes, sir. And that's another great point. I'm glad you mentioned that. There's so much creativity. There's so
Yeah.
much movement. There's so much life. So I love to see it all, from the good to the bad. And sadly, the bad does get highlighted, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of good. There's artists that draw you. There's
Mm.
musicians. There's, like you said, award-winning artists singing
Mm.
vocals. There's good things too.
I think that it's funny that that the bad gets highlighted, and it gets highlighted in every country that we're at, wherever we are. But there's far more good. If you open your eyes and start looking around, there's so much good around. There's always going to be that little bit of darkness. But in order to have light, we sometimes have to have darkness for someone to see the darkness to understand what the light is. And I think you go like I love the people watching. You go on a train and you meet so many different people. You sit there and you people watch. I am a connector, so how many people have I met off I meet people off. I've met long-term friends off of trains, planes, just random events. I meet them and I think I like this. But if I met you on a train, I'd have your number, and you and I would be mates. Without a
I
doubt. I just know it. I'd have seen you and thought, oh, he's interested in me. I can see that you're either, I could see you would concentrate something else. I'd be wanting to talk to you, and I know you'd connect with me. And then
Yes,
you
sir.
and I had become friends. That's how it works.
100%. I feel like we're already friends right now.
Yeah, I did. I felt it before the show, though. I've just been where I am now. Is we're in a business building that I have, and I can hear the stuff going on upstairs. And when the girls, when I got this morning, I was like, I've got this guy, because they'll come in and they'll go, "Have you got?" I go, "I've got this guy. I think he's from New York," and I was like buzzing off it. When I read, you've got a calmness I could see as I went through. That's why Katie's chose you. Katie Wise, the woman who runs the group, whose group Mindfulness and Positivity is. So we have a little thing. Is one of us will spot out someone else, like you're hers. She gave me you. I couldn't find you at first. She'll go, I've got this guy. And I'll go, I found a guy. I had a guy called Adam Hart last week. So it's quite cool that in the group, like, I love this group because it's about people encouraging each other to look for something else within each other. And I love that. And there's loads of people like you and I who've found stuff and we want to send it to people. And there's loads of people trying to find it, but the right kind of people there's some people who say they want to find it, but they don't, because they're caught up in all them four things that you said, like assumptions and all, and the four agreements. And then there's laws like us I feel like I've found a lot of it, But after speaking to you, I love your calmness. And that's one of the things that I want to work on. When I speak, you listen.
Yes, sir. Because I see it like puzzle pieces, and everyone's telling their own story. So I like to see your story. I want to make sure your story is matching up. I want to make sure that your heart matches your mouth. So I very when people talk, it's like a test, and I just sit there and I'm like, what can you understand? And I think that goes back to my meditation practices. I like to learn. I like to be immersed in life. I like to observe from people. And it's an honor to be in the group because like you said, there is a lot of different
Mm,
interacting levels. Some people are just basic. They're just getting started, and other
mm.
people are deeper in the fray, and I like to study them all and help them and learn from them. So it's an honor that, shout out to Katie for the opportunity, and shout out to you, sir.
Katie's awesome. Like Katie's like one of them people. Like how I got onto it was I was in this group and I thought, you know what, I love this group. I want to find out who runs it, and I'm putting her on a podcast. So I podcast Katie, and she'd never done that. And like talk about universal gateways. She went, that's mad that because I've never done out like this, but I was thinking I need to talk about some of the stuff I do. Well, and I offered her this podcast, and it led to there. She's awesome. She's so nice. She's caring. She does loads of things to help people. She's on, and she sometimes she has we all have our own struggles going on, and she's, but all she wants to do is give. So great. Such a great group. Right, let's give, I want to pick, so each of the podcasts, I pick someone in the group that's mentioned something, and then I get, on this occasion, it's going to be your opinion, what advice you'd give him. It's called, I'm going to get a little music for it. It's called Member Time. So we've got Susan Green. This is what she wrote, and I want to know what you tell her, Stephen, yeah? She's going to be blessed and lucky to get straight from you. Susan Green put, really struggling today. Family drama at its height. Walk away or see it through. I'm on the defensive and justifying my actions and very cross with myself for doing so. What would you say to her? I know it's only short. What would you say?
That's a good one. What I would say, thank you for the question. I appreciate her truth. I would say start to question why the family behavior triggers you. Always start with self. Heal the young child trauma that we all experience, and then speak from a place of healing, not a place of I need to get back at you or I need you to understand my story. I don't think people can let go if their intention is to make someone understand, right? Sometimes
Yes.
you just have to share. And I've had very difficult conversations, especially with my father growing up, but I've had to be willing to confront my own trauma before I address it with him. Because if I don't address it fully, it comes back harder. So, what I would say to the young lady is truly recognize your trauma, understand how it's impacted you, heal from it or to the best of your ability, and then, if necessary, confront your family. And I say big if, because sometimes the closure comes from your decision to let it go.
Yes.
You may not even have to interact with people at the deepest levels.
Yeah, I love that. So I'm going to be getting it. That it's letting go, like like just letting things go. That I don't know whether it was you. You mentioned about the past. I think it was you. So I think you'd mentioned something about you just mentioned then about that inner child letting it go. And I saw someone mention it. And they were saying, about the parents. I have to forgive my parents for whatever they did. And when I read that, I thought, we've all got a story. Like I've got a story, you've got one. And what I see about that is I knew that they didn't have any kids when they were forgiving the parents. Because as soon as you become a parent, it's pretty hard. It's a pretty hard job when you've been a parent, just working, trying to give them the best. You make loads of mad decisions, but you've got someone who's going to judge you when they get older about it. Do you know what I mean? And I just think like I've got some stuff in my past that I could like get upset. I don't, because the past is the past and I live for today. I'm not bothered about yesterday. I'm not bothered about tomorrow. If I make a good day today, tomorrow will be a good one as well. And I'm here right now. I'm only here. I'm nowhere else. I'm here. You talked about it a lot. You talked about awareness. My awareness is always where I am, right here, right now. And I've got the blessing of talking to you.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's an honor. And I love living in the moment because It doesn't let things slip up, right? I really
Mm.
like to watch your smile when you talk about certain things, or your excitement when you mention the group, or what. No, and even, you made me laugh when we went back and reflected on your past when you were in grade school. So, like, being awareness or being in awareness allows me to experience your life from your level as well, because I'm not thinking about my job, or I'm not thinking about
Mm.
my past. I'm in a state of, I guess, absolute focus. And that is mindfulness in action. And that's
Mm.
why I can enjoy your experiences without having to, interject mine. No, I'm listening to Chris right now. I want to hear his story. So I love being aware. And I want to actually shout out Eckhart Tolle, one of
Oh,
the
I love
best
him.
teachers.
Mm.
I need to
Yeah, I
shake
love
that
him.
man's hand. I know
Yeah, I love
he's
him.
incredible.
Do you know the other one I love? Oh, I'm rubbish. He's not alive now. He died when he was 70. He's
Alan
phenomenal.
Watts.
No, but I love Alan Watts. If anyone has not listened, I got into Audible, and he was the first Audible I ever got. Alan Watts is a dude. Is he the 50s or the 40s he's talking? But he's talking about stuff then, and you're like, wow, the
Hmm.
knowledge and wisdom he had then. He is
Hmm.
a powerhouse. Now, I weren't thinking of him. I was thinking of, he starts one of his famous videos. He starts with, I'll try and do this. It's just not going to work. He starts going, hi, because I'm nearly 70, and I almost have sex every day.
Oh.
Almost on a Monday, almost on a Tuesday. Do you know who he is?
No, no, but I need to now. I need to now.
Oh, I can just see him. He's like, his wisdom is. I'm gonna have to. I know this is really bad, but I'm just gonna have to quick look for my Audible where I'll find
Look
him,
him up.
because you'll definitely know who this guy is. But he is. Katie loves him as well. Katie's got an obsession with him like me.
It's
Oh,
not
what is
Joe
his?
Dispenza, is it?
No, but I absolutely. Of course, we listen to all the same. Well, I absolutely
Yeah.
love him beyond belief as well. No, this is another powerhouse like that. Breaking the Habit. He was on Joe Dispenza. No, he is called. I'd say he's another one to look at, but Dr. Joseph Murphy. He's an absolute brilliant one as well. Oh, I've definitely got his book. I feel like I'm wasting time now. I've got Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Oh, Wayne Dyer. Yes, he's another one.
Love him. I love his voice. I sometimes, like, when I'm having a bath, I'll play one of his videos. He just makes me feel, you know what? And I do feel this anyway, but he helps it. What really matters is nothing
Hmm.
unless we make it matter. And if we make only things that we like and enjoy matter, then we'll always enjoy our lives going forward.
I love that. That philosophy is so powerful. That's something I'm gonna carry with me today. So I appreciate that. Like, I'm
Fuzzy.
serious. I love it. I'm gonna use my awareness to only focus on things that I can control and things that I want to experience today. I'm gonna turn off my awareness to things that don't make me feel beautiful.
You're totally right. It is one. So when we started the show, as a bit of a British stereotype, I was having a cup of tea. Do you drink tea?
Honestly, I do. I do.
Oh, do you?
I do. I used to be weird about tea, but as I've gotten a little older and matured, my taste buds, there are things that I have a fondness for, and tea is one of them. I like green tea.
So what's mad is you're only 31. Like,
Yes, sir.
so I'm 43 now, and the chick, like, where you are now, right? Because in your spiritualness, like, I can see where you are and where you're going to be when you're like 40. Wow. Like the Mindful Wizard. I think one day I'm going to get you back on this, and it's going to go. It's just, you're going to go amazing with that. You might have to drop the teaching and stuff like that, and it'll be focusing on it'll be a different kind of teaching, because your calmness is very rare, very rare.
I'm truly honored. I would have thought that you would have thought I was nervous because I couldn't get into the mic thing.
Nah, no, that's not nervous, because that happens to me every time. Every time you go to do this, a little thing will happen, like something's not plugged in, or for some reason it's making a every time just before it, that happens. So I
Every
I weren't
single
thinking
time.
that. I wasn't thinking that at all. I was thinking, oh God, he's got that unlucky, And what's not mentioned? I'm 11 o'clock. You're like 6 in the morning now, aren't you?
Yes. Oh, I was so sleepy at 5. But to be honest with you, and I'm glad you mentioned it. I live for this. Like I love spirituality, mindfulness. Like I would do this all day. So
Oh,
if I had to wake up at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning to save or help one or two people, even just to talk to you, it was so worth it. So I really sincerely and humbly appreciate every opportunity to speak and build. I
I
love this
love
stuff.
you. I already love you. I loved you before we started. And this journey, it's just grown more. You're almost like a new puppy to me. I want to come to New York now. I'll come to your school for the day. It'd be awesome.
Well, listen, hopefully one day soon we'll grow the platform enough where you and I can meet and hang out and
Well,
drink tea.
I'm coming to America because I ended up being like universal gateways happen all the time. If you manifest the right things, you'll find everything you want comes to you. And that's what's happening with me. And I've ended up having a massive America. Like I met 3 different people from Texas, different areas. So I'm going to Texas to do a sort of a businessy thing that I've got. But then I want to see them. What I want to see in America is I want to see the bits that don't show on the TV. Like you come to England, they talk about London, Manchester, all the city centres. They're not England. Places like where I live are England. Places like real. I want to come to real America. I want to drive through it, just go and have a coffee at the. I just want to be. I'm probably on my own, or maybe with my oldest son. Yeah, I'm really excited about coming. I think it's in the. Is the fall? Is it? Is that autumn? The fall? Because he
Yes,
said
sir.
it's in the fall. That's autumn, right?
Hmm.
Have you got time for one more member of the group? This is not someone to advise. This is someone I thought was pretty cool. We can give him some ideas and suggestions. Have you got more
100%.
time? Yeah, cool. So
100%.
this guy's called Lee Eccles, and I came across his post. He put, so this is Lee Eccles. I am a very easily stressed person. I am extremely reactive to situations, but but something that someone says or does or something I do myself. I am very easy to anger, which tends to ruin my whole day. That's an interesting one, isn't it? We'll come to that. I spend an incredible amount of time running through scenarios in my mind about things that probably won't ever happen. Wow. I am very argumentative and often feel really low, which leads me to not want to do anything, which in turn is letting life pass me by. I like this. I read this. I love this guy. Not because he's saying that he's going to follow on. So I have decided to do something about it. That's what I loved. I am doing research into things I can do. For example, I wish I could read this out because I'm dyslexic. I'll say it. Ecotherapy, meditation, yoga, breathing exercise, grounding, earthing, and loads of other stuff. What I have decided to do is document my journey on Instagram and say what works for me, what doesn't work, and hopefully help you as well as myself. So please give me a follow and I will follow your back. So his Instagram is instagram.com/stress_free_Lee. His honesty then is what many people's struggles are. And I felt when I read that everyone's in them struggles, and some of us get better at taming that beast that he's referring to. But as first, have you because some of that stuff I don't even know what ecotherapy is. Do you know what that is?
I've never heard of ecotherapy. No.
No, I haven't heard about. But you could offer him what? So you can. He's highlighted what his problems are. Which let me just say this, Lee. Everyone has that problem, and we're all taming that beast at all times. Some are further than I used to be so angry. And that, my kids now, my older kid looks at my way and my other kid and thinks, he used to be like that with me. Sort of. So we tame it. So what would you? Because Lee's giving it a go. Go on, give Lee something to do. And will you follow him on Instagram? Because I said it. If you follow him, and then I'll mention that we talked about him, and it might start a synergy because he's a British lad from Sheffield. You won't have heard of Sheffield. It's a proper. If you were wanting to see a bit of Britain, that's proper Britain. Sheffield. It's got a lot of history and a lot of. So what would you give him?
So I'll definitely follow him. Shout out to Sheffield. No problem. Mr. Lee, I got you, brother. What I would say is Tai Chi. He didn't say Tai Chi. And not that Tai Chi is better than yoga, but Tai Chi helps because what Tai Chi helps me do is bring awareness to physical parts in the body. So, for example, he says he gets angry. I know that my anger starts somewhere in this range, probably in the stomach. And then if I'm holding on to it for too long, it starts to get to my forehead and my face. That's why I mentioned earlier the releasing of the jaw, right? The unclenching of the jaw.
Okay.
So just like learning where emotions are housed in the body is a very good way to eliminate their wrath. Another thing I like to do is sometimes you don't have to do anything. Like yesterday, I was a little sad, and sad's okay.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
I sat in the park and I ate some pizza. I didn't say you have to be happy or you have to not be sad. You're a meditation coach. I said no, just be. And
I agree.
I woke up fine. So sometimes the resistance causes more resistance. So I would
Mm.
say accept who you are, build upwards, don't speak to yourself negatively, and catch yourself when you're being irrational. And then start to replace those behaviors. So for example, if you punch walls when you're angry, next time try 5 minutes of Tai Chi or do
Mm.
some push-ups. Like get the energy out
Mm.
in a different way.
I used to punch walls long time ago. Like I was just saying, like I had this real. I'm not. It's not. I'm not bringing sadness into, but about a week last Wednesday, came to work. Really stressful business we're all on, and then Sarah said to me, she said, "Do you know who this person is?" And I went, "Yeah, I know him. I don't know him well." And he committed suicide on the Sunday, and it made me like. I had this like deep. I had a sad. Like I didn't think of it then because all life was going on. Like, and I went home that night and I kept pondering and thinking back to this guy. It was kind of one of them things that happened. So I had one of them. Yeah, I had one of them things, and I want to. I lost my train of thought then. It just popped up. But the sadness thing you said, I have a rule about sadness, and I totally agree what you say. When you're sad, sometimes you have to be sad and let it out. Let that thing out. Never 2 days. So if I'm sad, like you, if yesterday I wasn't sad yesterday. I've had a sad day this week. I think I go home, I'll be sad. Do all the sad things. I just let it go. I listen to some music that makes me feel sadder. I might watch something that makes me cry. I'll let it out. Never 2 days, ever. When I go to bed, and I say I've gone to bed early because when you're sad, you go to bed a bit early, don't you? Because you sort of want to shut you out. I ain't getting up the next morning. I start again. Everything that I've learned over the last 20 years, it starts, and I do my best. And if I could tell you, I did a video for my channel, and it said that I'm 97.5% happy because every time I have them sad days, the next day, I have a set thing before I get out of the bed. Open my eyes, right? Good day today. Good day. You're going to be a good day. Everything I want is going to happen today. That's before I get out of my bed. Straight out of my bed, straight downstairs, straight into a gratitude journal. So I can check my gratitude journal, exact dates, and I know when I've been sad because I only ever do it the day after I've been sad because I know it's the start of the process to get the fire moving in my thing. And I like sadness is something you've got to allow, but it's almost like it's like a leech. If you let it in and you let it get more in, it'll start sucking away the inside of you, and you'll stop them practices that you've been doing. So you just have to get back and practice again and do things. Like I have a rule of you need to see people. I need to end people's energy. I need to exercise. I need to read. I need to meditate. I just need to do things that I know that are going to bring me back. And I think that's important. But being sad is cool. Not cool, but it's inevitable.
I agree. And I agree that routine is crucial. When I'm off, I go right back to my routine, similar to you. And I have a little area where I take notes. And I'm like, oh, you haven't been grateful, or you really let that sit. Why don't you just process? Or like you said, movement. Movement is huge. Like I need movement. If I don't work
Same.
out 3 times a week,
Same.
I'm different.
Same. Mine's my dog walk. So I have this I'm just straight out my dog every morning. I have this dog walk. I live opposite one of the straight out of my house is a castle, and it's out and it's up a little mound. It's like it was actually the Queen of England's castle. It was Henry VIII, one of the wives he never killed. That was her castle. So opposite, and I go, and it's a wow, and I'll be in and thinking, when you sat in and you sat down, you feel a bit glum. As soon as you start moving, it won't get rid of it all the time, but it reduces it, and you start the flow. Letting the energy flow. Start attracting something different now. You've attracted sadness the day before. Today, we're going to attract something else. like like a light, like a beaming. I don't know, like today I saw, like I wasn't in a sad day anyway, but just on my walk today, this puppy saw me. I love puppies. I'm obsessed by dogs. And it went 100 meters to get to me. And when it got to me, it was as if it was wanting to give me the little bit of energy. It gave it me and it ran off. But I kept it with me the whole walk as I went on. Little things like that matter. And I've got this other amazing thing. There's an owl on my walk. It's like, does it for every 6 weeks, it's not there. And then it's there for a week. And this morning I look, it's like a box. It's about 20 meters in the woodland. And every day I walk past it to see it. I don't know why, but I love seeing it. Today it was there. It's not been there for 6 weeks. I take that with me for the rest of the day.
Amen. That's beautiful. Love it.
Tell me how people can connect with you. Because I think there's a lot of people who could gain by connecting with the Mindful Wizard. What could they do? If someone wants to have a chat with you, listen to this today. They like your calmness is something I think you could help 1,000 people. What could they do if someone wants to come and have a chat with you?
Oh, I would love that. Simply reach out to me at Mindful Wizard on Instagram. I respond to all messages. Just, hey, I listened to you on the podcast. I thought you were great, or I couldn't understand the word you said, but can you explain this? Either way, I'm available at Mindful Wizard on Instagram. That is my most prominent social media. You can send me an email if it's something personal that you just want me to read. It's mindfulwizard@gmail.com. And then I also have my own podcast, if you guys would like to listen to that as well.
What is it?
And we're on anchor.fm.
Anchor.fm?
Yes, sir. /Mindful Wizard.
Cool. Right. I'm definitely going to listen to that. Anchor.fm /Mindful Wizard. Wicked.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely outstanding.
Yes, sir. We have a few good things going on. Yes, sir.
Give me a book you'd recommend to someone.
Oof. Let's start with The 4 Agreements.
Yeah, I've got that one. I'm having that. I've got that one.
And then we'll get a little crazier. I'll add in there The Mastery of Self by Don Miguel Ruiz Jr., the son of the man that wrote The 4 Agreements. Very powerful book.
Okay, no way. That's cool.
Very powerful book.
Well, one more, because I've got 3 books off you then. I like to think every time, because we're made up of the books we read because it gives us the new knowledge that we're going to live by. We listen to someone else's way and we think, I think I can incorporate that. I can give that a go. Because I listened to that, when I read out that The Status by Lee Eccles, I just thought, you know what? That sounds like the journey I was on. And I'm still on it now. That's something my dog walk. So have you read the book, The Chimp Paradox?
I have not.
Oh, that's a good book. And that's what he was talking about. All that was arguing with him, that was being bad in situations, checking it wrong. That was his chimp. In the book, they describe it as your chimp. When I'm on my dog walk, I'll be walking along really good mood, and I'll start having an argument with someone that I'm always going to tell someone something. And as soon as I do it, I think, like what you said, I get this feeling, I stop and go, what are you doing? Why are you doing that to yourself? You're in this beautiful place, trees, and lovely place, and I'm having these ridiculous negative thoughts, and I straight away stop them. And that's the power we have. We don't have to think what we think. We can at any time just go, whoa, gone.
Yes, sir. We don't have to live in that movie. We create the narrative, sir.
What's the 3rd book then? Go on, I want one.
I'm excited. I would go with A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle.
Well, all right. I've seen that one.
So
I've got quite into Blinkist. You know what Blinkist is?
I don't.
Blinkist has got 4,500 books, and it gives us 15-minute synopsis of the book. So sometimes, like, because of the dyslexia or something, my short-term memory is pretty rubbish. So sometimes I'll refresh a book a lot. Like, I might have read it ages ago, and it's like a synopsis of the book. And it's like I'll do your 3 books on 2 dog walks, and then I'll think, do I want to read it all? But it's like sometimes in 16 minutes, you get a lot of what the book is. So I get every day to experience a new book, and then I'll think, nah, this one's a good one. Like, I'm reading The Greatest Secret at the minute. Have you read that one?
No.
It's all about awareness. I'd massively recommend it. About finding awareness, and all we are is awareness, and describing how that is. And when you can go back to awareness all the time, you can go back to peace within yourself. And at any point, we can flick to awareness. Really interesting. You read The Secret was the first book in 2005, 2006. And then this is called The Greatest Secret. All about you are someone who's already practicing it, I feel.
Wait, do you mean Rhonda Byrne's The
Yeah,
Secret?
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yes, yes, yes,
So
yes.
this is her second book called The Greatest Secret. So it's not about this. The secret's been given you what that's about, and this is about another. Oh, it's good. It is. It's good. I've actually read. I've got the book and I'm reading it, but I've done the blink list twice just to keep, because I think this one's an important one to take on, because it's about, yeah, you're doing it on the train a lot. You're doing it a lot already, and yeah, it's cool. This has been cool. I've really enjoyed having you on. I know that you're gonna have to go to work and whatnot now, but I'm gonna get you back on again in the future if that's cool with you.
I would honestly, I would love an opportunity to just hang out and talk to you, brother. You've been a lot of fun. It's been a humbling and amazing experience to talk to you. So thank you very much, sir.
I'm just going to press thingy, but I'm not going to go. So you and I will still be on, but I'll just end the recording now. But thank you very much. If you want to find Stephen, it's at Mindful Wizard. You can get him on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Have I missed one?
Yeah, and Anchor, the podcast.
And Anchor, yeah. So you can go on anchor.fm/Mindful Wizard. And I'm going to be finding that as well. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.